This is the Inmotion V14 Black, batch 3 version of the highly anticipated but troubled electric unicycle.
It promised to be faster, more powerful, and come with improved firmware, better range, and a slew of upgrades.
But is it enough to redeem this wheel from all the delays and problems that the batch 1 version has suffered? This week I'm going to ride the Inmotion V14 V2 and see how its suspension will handle the nasty streets of New York City, and if it's finally fast enough to earn my love. Roll the intro.
Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and help spread the uni gospel.
First, a quick shout out to Jason at eWheel for providing this V14 for review purposes, but as usual, all opinion expressed is strictly my own.
And check out themosfet.com for accessories
and swag like this MOSFET t-shirt just in time for spring. As the largest electric unicycle company around, Inmotion wheels tend to be better designed, more polished, and better packaged. But in recent years and over the past few releases, we have seen a slew of problems with their batch 1 wheels. And the V14 is unfortunately no exception. There were multiple shipping delays, a lower than expected top speed, controller failure with Marty's demo unit, issue with the suspension stand Hsiang, and the list goes on.
This is fine.
Unfortunate since the V14 had such a promising start. First introduced in the beginning of 2023 with a brand new linkage and coil-based suspension system and a 134-volt, 2400-watt-hour battery pack powering a massive 4,000-watt motor and sharing the same robust Raptor controller from the V13 with a slew of helpful safety features built in. If it had indeed arrived in time to compete with the Veteran Patent or the Vigo Extreme, it may have done very well, but it did not.
Then there was the decision to cap its top speed at 70 km or 43 miles per hour, which is still plenty fast, but significantly slower than all of its competitors.
Which immediately caused me to lose interest because of my speed at all mine. I mean, a 70 km or 43 miles per hour top speed is what we had with the 5-year-old MSX, and apparently I wasn't the only one who's complaining, which lead us to the V2 Black I'm riding here with an upgraded 50S battery pack and a supposedly faster top speed of 75 km or 47 miles per hour. We're getting close to that 50 miles per hour mark. The V14 may finally be able to put up a good fight. Which brings us to my review, and as usual I'm going to be rating the V14 based on 5 different criteria, and they are convenience, design, performance, ride quality, and finally value on a score of 1 to 5. Starting with convenience and unboxing the V14. Every other electric unicycle requires that you wrestle with the box and struggle to lift the ever heavier wheel out of the box, but not so with the V14. Look how much easier that was. Why couldn't more companies do this? And that same thoughtfulness extends to the rest of the wheel. There is the now ubiquitous kickstand that Inmotion first introduced on the V11. Now you also have the option of resting it on its face if you like, and they even included additional pads if you scuff up this one that's already attached.
There is an excellent and adjustable headlight with proper beam angle and cutoff so you don't blind random motorists and pedestrians and actually illuminate the road like a headlight is supposed to do. Why doesn't any other wheel do this?
The V14 is also IPX6 rated, which means that it's dustproof, waterproof, and safe to ride in the rain. And the battery pack is actually IPX7 rated, which means that it's safe for immersing water for 30 minutes.
We can talk about how the seal and gasket had improved on the new Veteran and Vigo wheels, but the V14 is actually certified waterproof. And have never felt so confident to ride through an entire day of heavy downpour.
Speaking of certification, the V14 is also in the process of passing the UL 2849 certification for e-mobility devices and will be the first electric unicycle to carry the certification, which not only provides some peace of mind against lithium battery fire, but it's also required by government in places like right here in New York City, which make this technically the only legal electric unicycle I can own. How's that for convenience?
There's an excellent trolley handle on top and a very readable black and white screen.
And there is the very usable Inmotion app, which actually doesn't resemble something cobbled together by Chinese hackers for a change.
Speaking of the app, it also gives you access to individual cell monitoring from the battery management system, which has been the safety feature we all have been asking for.
Inmotion also heard the complaint about difficulty for access for maintenance and tire swap purposes, and not only make all components more easily removable, but they also added the industry first battery disconnect that is available on no other electric unicycle.
And I had the chance to test it out since I actually popped the tube and had to replace it. And if done correctly, you only need to disconnect a single battery pack and can swap tire or tube without ever having to disconnect the motor wire or opening up the controller compartment, which is really handy.
The quick disconnect also opened up possibility of airline travel. TSA will still need to remove electric unicycle from its banned item list, but at least the huge batteries would no longer be a problem. The V14 earns a 4.5 out of 5 for convenience for being the most thoughtfully designed electric unicycle I have ever rode. And speaking of design, let's talk about how the V14 looks. Although Veteran and Beggo has gotten better with their wheel designs, for the most part their EUCs remain squarish and blocky affairs, with Veteran leaning fully into the tank aesthetic after the wildly successful launch of their original wheel, the Sherman. Which is fine, except a lumbering tank isn't exactly the first thing you think of when it comes to a lightweight, compact, and agile personal transport.
The architect Frank Lloyd Wright famously argued against form follow function by stating that form and function should be one joint in spiritual union.
But to me, the streamlined contour profile of the V14 feels much more expressive of how it feels to actually ride this wheel. Where in prior Inmotion wheels may be sleek and beautiful, they also have the unfortunate reputation of being difficult to work on, with layers of panels requiring removal even for simple tasks like tube replacement.
Why for me, the most impressive thing about the design of the V14 is that somehow Inmotion managed to maintain the same aerodynamic sculpted profile while significantly improving accessibility, making it one of the easier electric unicycle to work on.
It is also one of the more comfortable and ergonomically tuned electric unicycle I have ever ridden or pushed around, and is shaped more like a bar of soap than a sanding block, which is nice between your legs and next to your sensitive bits. But I do have one complaint. At 82 pounds, it weighs the same as the Patent and the Extreme, but it can be and should be lighter. It would truly be beautiful if they can shave another 10 to 15 pounds off of this 80-pound wheel. And I'm gonna dock a point and give it 4 out of 5 for design. Next, let's talk about performance, and let's just get it right out of the way that the V2 version is no faster than the original V14. Despite the upgraded motor and the higher discharge 50S battery pack and the increasing overall headroom, Inmotion's still unwilling to increase the overall top speed of 70 km or 43 miles per hour.
Which means that I find myself constantly riding the beeps and pushing against the tailback whenever I ride. And like advice from your mother, I totally get the concern for safety, but it does get a bit tiring with the constant reminder that I have been a very, very bad boy when I'm hitting that 40 miles per hour cap on a regular basis.
having one of the most powerful motor available, the firmware is too on the conservative side and really discourage extreme acceleration like what Go and Veteran would happily doze out with their wheels. This is a primarily commuter and off-road focused electric unicycle, so stay in the bike lane, please.
With a motor that exceeds the output of the 150-volt lengths and a smaller diameter tire to further increase leverage, the V14 is probably one of the torquiest and most maneuverable off-road electric unicycle you can ride. Like a mountain goat hopped up on caffeine, it laughed at whatever steep incline I tossed at it and asked for more.
But there is one thing that the V14 excel above all other, and that is safety. The combination of a powerful motor and a tilt-back cab at relatively reasonable speed, shall we say, means that this wheel have more headroom than just about anything else on the market right now. Honestly, I really can't imagine how anyone could actually overpower this wheel during normal riding conditions.
And despite my grumbling, I do have to acknowledge that not everyone is as obsessed about speed as I am. So the V14 earns a 4 out of 5 for performance if you're fine with staying under that speed limit.
But how does it ride? Well, the very first linkage-based suspension design from Inmotion came out of the gate strong. And although the coil spring still honestly feels slightly bouncier for road riding purposes, to me, it is more than competent off-road and far surpass Inmotion's past non-linkage based suspension design like on wheels such as the V11 or V13.
The question of spring versus air piston versus hydraulic shocks come down to personal taste at this point, since most electric unicycle suspension released in the last year or two are all able to perform well on poor road surfaces, like I'm finding myself regularly passing off-road SUVs on cobblestone street and past speed bumps. But I do still personally lean towards hydraulics since they tend to dampen more and it's better for road riding for me. But the springiness of the V14 does allow you to jump this wheel way more easily, which can be fun if you're into that sort of things.
The V14 is also very well balanced and stable despite it being a smaller 16-inch diameter wheel with an excellent neutral disposition that makes it easy to ride with a good tendency to self-center when made to wobble in extreme conditions,
which makes it fun to carve on the road and excellent for off-road. A fair trade-off for the reduced speed as compared to the Veteran patent or the Go Extreme.
Despite the unfortunate delay, it does appear that Inmotion had indeed taken the additional time to properly tune this wheel. The V14 provides an overall excellent ride and earns a 4 out of 5 for ride quality. Finally, let's talk about value. Now, it all comes down to exactly the kind of electric unicycle rider you are. If you're someone who lives for the exhilarations of speed and acceleration and love this feeling of having wind in your face, then this wheel is probably not for you. But if you're looking for a well-designed and easy to live with wheel that is great for commuting and shopping, but is also excellent off-road and capable of tackling even the most challenging of trails, then the V14 is just about perfect.
It is powerful, comfortable to ride in all kind of crazy condition, and most importantly, is easy to maintain. This is huge since the majority of us probably don't have an EUC repair shop nearby, so eventually this would be a problem that you'll have to deal with.
As long as you're fine with its limited top speed, then the V14 is a generally all-around excellent wheel and earns a 4 out of 5 for value.
So what do you think? Is the V14 too slow and boring for a 2024 EUC, or is speed overrated and slow steady wins the race? Well, that is what the comment section below is for. You know what? Once again, I ramble on too long and somehow managed to waste another 15 minutes of your life, but I hope you enjoyed it. Shout out to my supporter on Patreon. Please check out the link in the video description below if you enjoy and like to support my work. And as always, as much as we all love electric unicycle, the only way for us to get better wheel is to grow as a community. So tell your friend, teach them how to ride, and get them hooked. Until the next video, thank you.